The House will come to order. Prayer by the chaplain.
Let's pray. Eternal and sovereign Father, the men and women gathered in this room desire to make a positive impact on this troubled world. Lord, use their efforts today toward that end. Help each of them to focus on promoting what is good, right, and true. Grant wisdom that will enable them to unravel complicated problems, recognize unintended consequences, and balance competing interests in an equitable way. Allow them to accomplish the people's business in a manner that honors you and benefits the citizens of Minnesota. I also ask, Father, that you will enable the women and men of this body to encourage one another, empower them to speak words full of grace and truth. Grant them the ability to be good listeners, especially toward those with whom they often disagree. Enable them to treat each other with patience, civility, and respect. Help them remember that those whose opinions differ from their own are usually also seeking to serve what they believe to be the common good. Finally, Lord, I ask that every individual here would experience your grace and blessings in his or her life. Each brings personal concerns into this room. Some have health issues. Others might be concerned about a son or daughter who is making poor choices. Some may be struggling with personal temptations or addictions. In each case, I pray you would provide the grace and strength needed for today's challenges and tasks. And Lord, I would add a special prayer for my Senator, David Tomassoni, who continues his work despite his battle with that horrible, debilitating disease we call ALS. May grace, hope, and peace fill his mind and heart today. Amen.
Members, the chaplain for today is Reverend Dan Erickson from Chisholm Baptist Church, Chisholm, Minnesota. Pledge of Allegiance. Please remain standing and recite the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The clerk will take the roll. Members, please check in for the quorum call.
Bo is present.
Will the chief clerk please call those who have not checked in for the quorum call?
Albright. Albright, present. Barr.
Barr, present.
Barr, present. Baker.
Baker, present.
Baker, present. Berg.
Berg, present.
Berg, present. Bow.
Bo, present.
Bow, present. Damath.
Damath, present.
Damath, present. Franzen. Franzen. Gruenhagen.
Gruenhagen, present.
Gruenhagen, present. Hamilton.
Hamilton, present.
Hamilton, present. Hanson R. Hanson R. Hausman.
Hausman, present.
Hausman, present. Heinsman. Heinsman. Hollins.
Hamlin's present.
Hollins, present. Hornstein. Hornstein. Keeler.
Keeler, present.
Keeler, present. Lippert.
Lippert, present.
Lippert, present. Lucero.
Lucero, present.
Lucero, present. Mason.
Mason, present.
Mason, present. Murphy. Murphy. Nash.
Present.
Nash, present. Olson B.
Olson B, present.
Olson B, present. Pinto. Pinto, present. Poston.
Poston, present.
Poston, present. Sandell.
Sandell, present.
Sandell, present. Schumacher.
Schumacher, present.
Schumacher, present. Schultz. Schultz, present. Tice.
Tice, present.
Tice, present. Thompson. Thompson. Torkelson. Torkelson, present. Zhang Jie.
Present.
Zhang Jie, present. Franzen. Franzen. Hanson R. Hanson R, present. Heinzman. Heinzman, present. Hornstein. Hornstein. Murphy. Murphy. Thompson.
Thompson, present.
Thompson, present.
A quorum is present. The clerk will read the journal from the preceding day.
Journal of the House, 92nd Session, 2022, 104th day, St. Paul, Minnesota, Friday, May 6, 2022.
There is no objection. Further reading of the journal will be dispensed with, and the journal will be approved as corrected by the chief clerk. Hearing no objection, the journal is approved as corrected by the chief clerk. Reports of standing committees and divisions. A copy of this order of business is online. If there are no objections to the reports will be adopted. Hearing no objection, the reports are adopted. Second reading of Senate files.
Second reading, Senate file number 4476.
Second reading. Messages from the Senate.
Message from the Senate. Madam Speaker, I hereby announce that the Senate accedes to the request of the House for the appointment of a conference committee on amendments adopted by the Senate to the following House file. House file number 3872, an act relating to higher education. The Senate has appointed as such committee Senators Thomasoni, Rarick, Jasinski, Housley, and Clausen. The message is signed Cal R. Ludeman, Secretary of the Senate. Message from the Senate. Madam Speaker, I hereby announce the passage by the Senate of the following Senate file herewith transmitted. Senate file number 3540. The message is signed Cal R. Ludeman, Secretary of the Senate.
First reading of Senate files.
First reading Senate file number 3540, an act relating to retirement. Nelson M. moved that Senate file number 3540 and House file number 4017, now on the General Register, be referred to the Chief Clerk for comparison.
Having no objection, hearing no objection, so ordered.
Announcement by the Speaker, a message from the Senate has been received requesting concurrence by the House to amendments adopted by the Senate to the following House file number 3296.
Report from the Committee on Rules and Legislative Administration.
Winkler from the Committee on Rules and Legislative Administration, pursuant to Rules 1.21 and 3.33, designates the following bills to be placed on the calendar for the day for Wednesday, May 11th, 2022, and establishes a pre-filing requirement for amendments offered to the following bills. House File number 2725 and Senate File number 3008.
Calendar for the day. The first bill on the calendar for the day is House File 3834. The clerk will report the bill.
House File number 3834, number 1 on the calendar for the day, an act relating to local government.
I recognize the author of the bill, the member from Hennepin.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Representative Elkins.
Yes.
To your bill.
Yes, thank you. So this is a purely administrative bill. The city of Bloomington had one of the first HRAs, Housing and Redevelopment Authorities, established in the state. It was established in session law back in 1971. That session law was tweaked in 1977, but when the state overhauled its general statute governing Housing and Redevelopment Authorities statewide, it was an oversight, and the statute, the session law regarding the city of Bloomington was never updated. And as a result, the city is in kind of a gray area where it's not completely clear that the city's HRA is governed by that session law or by the updated 1987 statute that governs HRAs more generally. So this bill, all it would do is it would clean up that session law to make it abundantly clear that the city of Bloomington's HRA is governed by the general statute, just like every other housing and redevelopment authority in the state. This bill passed unanimously through the local government committee and state government committees on its way here. And this should be a very simple administrative cleanup.
Seeing no amendments at the desk. Seeing no amendments at the desk, the clerk will give the bill its third reading.
Third reading, House File number 3834.
Third reading. Further discussion. The member from Hennepin, Representative Carlson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As a former member of the Bloomington Housing and Redevelopment Authority, I want to just speak real briefly to the bill. While the bill is technical in nature, the Bloomington HRA does provide affordable housing opportunities to those who are not adequately served by the marketplace. It coordinates the city's efforts to preserve existing neighborhoods and promote development and redevelopment throughout the city. The HRA accomplishes its mission through a variety of programs, including rental assistance, housing rehabilitation loans, first-time home buyer assistance, and many other redevelopment programs. So again, members, again, I urge your support so that the Bloomington HRA can continue on with its good work. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Further discussion to the bill. Seeing none, I recognize the author of the bill, Representative Elkins.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm likewise a former member of the Bloomington Housing and Redevelopment Authority and can attest to the truth of Representative Carlson's praise of the work that group is good. This is a good bill. Please vote green.
Seeing no further discussion to the bill, clerk will take the roll. Members, please vote.
Clerk will call those members who haven't voted yet.
The clerk will call those members not voting.
Barr. Barr. Baker. Baker. Berg.
Aye.
Berg, aye. Bo.
Bo votes aye.
Bo, aye. Bolden.
Bolden, aye.
Bolden, aye. Damath.
Damath, aye.
Damath, aye. Gruenhagen.
Gruenhagen, aye.
Gruenhagen, aye. Hamilton.
Hamilton, aye.
Hamilton, aye. Hausman.
Houseman, aye.
Hausman, aye. Heinrich. Heinrich, no. Hollins.
Hollins, aye.
Hollins, aye. Hornstein. Hornstein. Keeler.
Keeler, aye.
Keeler, aye. Lucero.
Lucero, no.
Lucero, no. Mason.
Mason, aye.
Mason, aye. Murphy. Murphy. Nash.
Nash, no.
Nash, no. Olson B.
Wilson B, no.
Olson B, no. Schumacher.
Schumacher, aye.
Schumacher, aye. Tice.
Tice, aye.
Tice, aye. Thompson.
Thompson, aye.
Thompson, aye. Barr. Barr. Baker.
Baker, aye.
Baker, aye. Hornstein. Hornstein. Murphy. Murphy.
All right.
Clerk will close the roll. There being 108 ayes and 22 nays, the bill is passed and its title agreed to. Next bill on the calendar for today is House File 4221. The clerk will report the bill.
House File number 4221, number 2 on the calendar for the day, an act relating to local government.
I recognize the author of the bill, the member from Hennepin, Representative Nelson M.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. House File 4221 is probably even simpler than the previous bill that we had. In 1967, the legislature enacted Minnesota statute, section 375.47, which allowed counties throughout the state of Minnesota to set reasonable allowances for expenses or per diems for persons serving on a county advisory board. Members, this is not the county commissioner board of commissioners. This is advisory boards to the county. However, in 1967, the law exempted counties containing a city of the first class from paying those allowances. That meant that Hennepin, Ramsey, and St. Louis counties were prohibited from paying these allowances. In 1978, Ramsey County was exempted from the exception, and in 2000, St. Louis County was exempted from the exception, thereby leaving only Hennepin County as the only county in the state that is not allowed to pay allowances or per diems for citizens who serve on advisory boards or commissions. House File 4221 seeks to remove this exception from Hennepin County, thereby allowing Hennepin County, like all other 86 counties in the state, to by resolution set reasonable allowances or per diems allowances to be paid to members of boards and agencies authorized by the statute. Hennepin County has a relatively small number of boards and advisory commissions where citizens serve without any remuneration. And Hennepin County has found this prohibition in the state law acts as a barrier to recruiting a number of people whose time and talents could advise the county on many important issues. Hennepin County has exceptions in other sections of law that allow us to compensate people on some of our boards, such as the library board, the HR board, the capital budgeting task force, and other bodies such as SWCDs, Three Rivers Park District, and the Minneapolis City Planning Commission. Again, and these are all through statute to be allowed to give stipends by statute. So there's just a few boards like the CCAP, the CAP board, or the Race Equity Advisory Council, extension offices, the Workforce and Innovation, and a handful of others that we can't reimburse for their time. The rationale for 1967 has long since passed, and since all other 86 counties are allowed to compensate members of advisory boards and commissions, Hennepin County asked to be able to do the same. And so with that, members, I ask for your green vote on this bill, and I'll stand for any questions.
Seeing no amendments, the clerk will give the bill its third reading.
Third reading, House File number 4221.
Third reading. Further discussion? Seeing none, I recognize the author of the bill, Representative Nelson M., for final comments.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And members, like I said, it's a relatively simple bill. It's just allowing Hennepin County to do what all other 86 counties can do. And I ask for your green vote.
The clerk will give the bill, take the roll on the bill.
Hallelujah.
Members, please vote.
They don't need our vote on this.
What?
Haley said aye.
Clerk will call the names of those not yet voting.
Barr,
Barr, no.
Didn't get it. Barr.
Barr, no.
Barr, no. Baker.
Baker, aye.
Baker, aye. Berg.
Aye.
Berg. Bow.
Bo votes aye.
Bow, aye. Bolden.
Bolden, aye.
Bolden, aye. Damath.
Damath, aye.
Damath, aye. Gruenhagen.
Gruenhagen, aye.
Gruenhagen, aye. Hamilton.
Hamilton, aye.
Hamilton, aye. Houseman.
Houseman, aye.
Houseman, aye. Hollins.
Collins, aye.
Hollins, aye. Keeler.
Keeler, aye.
Keeler, aye. Lucero.
Lucero, no.
Lucero, no. Nash.
Nash, no.
Nash, no. Olson B.
Olson B, no.
Olson B, no. Schumacher.
Schumacher, no.
Schumacher, no. Tice. Tice.
Gee whiz, that goes into the state record for the history.
Thompson. Thompson. Berg.
Berg, aye.
Berg.
Berg, aye.
Berg, aye. Murphy. Murphy, aye. Tice. Tice. Thompson. Thompson.
Thompson, no.
Thompson. What was that? He said no. Thompson.
Thompson, aye.
Thompson, aye.
Clerk will close the roll. There being 87 ayes and 44 nays, the bill is passed and its title agreed to. Motions and resolutions. There are copies of the non-controversial motions at the House desk and online. If there are no objections, we will take action on these motions first. Hearing no objections, the motions prevail. Announcements. The member from Sherburne, Representative Wolgamott.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. On behalf of the Minnesota Government Relations Council, I would like to announce that tonight from 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock at CHS Field, they'll be hosting an event to honor retiring legislators. And I hope that you, Mr. Speaker, and that all of us can show up and honor our legislators who are retiring. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Further announcements.
Careful on those stairs.
Representative Winkler.
Madam Speaker, I move that when the House adjourns today, it adjourns until 3:30 p.m. Wednesday, May 11, 2022.
Representative Winkler moves that when the House adjourns today, it adjourns until 3:30 p.m. Wednesday, May 11th, 2022. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, please say no. The motion prevails. Representative Winkler.
Madam Speaker, I move that the House do now adjourn.
Representative Winkler moves that the House do now adjourn. All those in favor, please say aye. Those opposed, please say no. The motion prevails. The House stands adjourned until 3:30 p.m. Wednesday, May 11th, 2022.